Are you tired of being ugly? No, not you, not you. I'm talking about your house. I never call you ugly. You're beautiful. But there are so many parts of our home that are just plain ugly. And they're ugly because we have no idea how to hide these practical items. And I'm not going to tell you to get rid of the practical items. We need them. But I am going to show you how to hide them. That's what we're talking about in today's video. But before we do that though, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and check me out on Instagram. And I do want to say thanks to Wayfair for sponsoring today's video. I'll tell you more about my show Interior Motives on the Wayfair YouTube channel a little bit later on, but let's get into today's video. The first ugly piece of decor we need to talk about is the pet toy. Now, I've said this once, I've said this twice, and I'll say it again. The dogs, the cats, they rule our homes. Even your hermit crab, I guess, whatever pet you have. The pets rule our homes, and that means that there are toys absolutely everywhere. And I don't want you to deprive your dog of a toy. What kind of person would do that? So what are we gonna do about it? How are we going to hide this ugly, practical piece of decor? Well, what you're gonna start doing is you're going to buy baskets with tall sides, and you're going to buy pretty baskets. Yes, you're gonna say no to those baskets to say woof on the side. The dogs can't read anyway. You don't need them to say that. I want you to get beautiful baskets and start bringing them into your home. You wanna make sure that these baskets are tall enough so that they obscure some of the toys, but also not too tall so that your dog that is only 7 inches tall can still get in there to get some toys. That's what I've actually done in my own home, and my dog loves it. We have a nice luxurious looking basket for him, but he can go in there and pull out 100 toys at a time if he so pleases. And let me tell you, he does please, because he does it every single day. What I love about this little hack is that you get a nice basket, right? And we need baskets and spaces for practical items, no matter what they are, because of course you should have these baskets not only for pet toys, but you should also have them for blankets and just blankets, right? Because what else would you put in a basket? You have to have these baskets anyway. So instead of having an ugly container for dog toys or just throwing them all on the dog's bed, you want to start getting these baskets. And I'm sorry if it seems like I'm discriminating against cats. I am not. I just only have a dog. I actually got a faux leather one. You can get wicker ones, but you don't want to get ones with tops. You just want to make sure they're deep enough so that if you're glancing across the room, you can't actually see the toys inside. And if you have so many toys that it's overflowing, you and your pet may have to sit down and have a chat about their hoarding problem. But otherwise, this is a great way to hide some practical items in your own home. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that books are ugly, but something people say to me all of the time on Instagram, on YouTube, is that they have such a hard time displaying books because they're like, books aren't chic, books aren't cute. Well, first of all, you're wrong, because books are wonderful and we should all be reading. But secondly, it's all about how you actually display the books, right? So something we see all the time is someone will put all of their books on a shelf in like color coordinating order. Well, guess what? I don't have rainbow books. I just don't have rainbow books, right? And a lot of us don't, right? So you'll start with the rainbow and then it gets sad. You're like, oh, there's red and then there's orange, and then you're like white, 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 black, black, rainbow. You know, it's just really, really difficult to get that look, and not everyone wants rainbow decor. Something else people end up doing is they actually turn their books around so that the spine is facing the inside of the bookshelf. Well, this may look nice, but how do you know what book you're picking up? You have absolutely no idea. Someone might find out that you have a Colleen Hoover obsession and you don't want people to know that, right? And you're gonna be exposed because the spine is now facing the back of the bookshelf, right? And you can just pull out absolutely anything. And if you have a trap door, now, you know, it'll be a lot more obvious. But anyway, you actually wanna start decorating your bookshelves in a way where you evenly disperse books on every shelf. So if you like having decor and you also have books, you wanna evenly disperse them. Don't just say this shelf is for books and then this shelf is for decor. It looks super duper choppy and the styling itself just ends up looking ugly. You wanna evenly disperse them. So what you can do is you can lay some books flat, you can have some of them laying on their sides, and you can put vases next to them, or you can put vases on top, you can put bowls on top. You can intersperse the decor in the books in a way that allows you to still have access to the books but also have decor. You can put lamps on bookshelves, you can put art on bookshelves, but it's about actually having them side by side, not totally separating your books from everything else. And it's not also about color coordination in a very strict way. What you can do is you can have black and green together or red and pink together. It really doesn't matter. What you want to do is just make sure that you're choosing colors of your decor and your books that complement one another. So if you have a blue book and a green decorative accent, you put them next to one another, that's going to look good. And it's going to be a lot less like, woo, these are really bold colors. And it's going to be like, these pieces are in harmony and they look very nice together. The same type of focus you give to organizing decor, I want you to give to organizing your books with your decor. I promise if you do this, instead of hiding your books in baskets or trying to turn the spines around and all of that, your space is going to look so much more sophisticated and you're going to have way less of a hassle when you actually want to read read the books, because let's face it, let's actually read the books that we buy. If you actually want to know even more about how to store your books and actually how to create a proper library in your home, whether you're a beginner reader or whether you read 100 books a month, you need to check out my next and last episode of Interior Motives. If you don't know what Interior Motives is, it is actually my show on the Wayfair YouTube channel. And if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go check it out. Now, if you don't know who Wayfair is, they are an amazing online retailer for all home goods. Whether you need art, rugs, furniture, they have got you covered. And they actually have a really fantastic YouTube channel. In this episode of Interior Motives, I show you how to make a small library in your living room, how to make a medium-sized library in your living room, and I even show you how to create a dedicated library that is great for hosting your book clubs and reading all of the best books and even writing your novel if that's something that you're doing. So I teach you actually how to organize your books in a way that look beautiful instead of just, getting rid of books and getting a Kindle, because you know what? We're over that. We gotta bring back the paperback book. If that seems like something that is up your alley, you need to go check out that episode, and I will leave a link down in the description box. Not only should you click on the link to watch Interior Motives, but you should also check out the other amazing series on the Wayfair YouTube channel, like A Style is Born and The Small Stuff. Again, I'm leaving that link down below. Be sure to click it, check out the other episodes, engage. I want to hear what you think, and subscribe to the Wayfair YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of their other great series. It would mean the absolute world to me if you went and checked out my show. I'm telling you, it is everything that my channel is about, but even better, because we get to go into so much more detail, and I really think you're gonna love it. Now let's talk about the next way to hide ugly decor in your home. Something people put in their entryways all the time is a mirror, and I love mirrors in entryways, right? Because they elongate the space and you're able to check and make sure that you look good before you leave the home, because we want to look as glamorous as humanly possible when we're going to the grocery store, right? So I love that people do that. But oftentimes what happens in an entryway is it gets very cluttered, right? We have a console table, we have our keys there and our phones there and our bags there and all of that. And it can get very, very messy very, very quickly, and it's ugly. But we need to have access to these things, right? You don't want to have to store your keys upstairs. That just doesn't make any sense. So a hack I want you to actually try is to use jewelry mirrors instead of just normal standard mirrors. So what is a jewelry mirror? A jewelry mirror is a mirror that has a little bit of depth to it. So it is fairly thick. It's 1 or 2 inches thick. And when you actually open it, it has storage for jewelry. So it has storage for earrings and necklaces and things like that. And you can actually use it to store things that are small, just like jewelry necklaces. So phone chargers, keys, money, things like that, you can actually store these items in these jewelry mirrors. Now, I've never seen anyone do this before, but I'm like, why not? Because you can use these for absolutely anything that's small. They even have pockets, so you can put mail in there. So you no longer have to have a mail tray. You no longer have to have that decorative bowl in your entryway. You can just have a hook for your bag or something like that, or put your bag in the closet, and everything else can go in this jewelry mirror. This way, we're actually able to free up a lot of floor space, which is something we always want to do in an entryway, again, because it gets very cluttered. And we no longer have to worry about the mess of the entryway, of the keys, of the mail, of all of that good stuff. It is just purely hidden away. And I love that for you, because we're not stumbling over anything, and it's going to actually really streamline your process when it comes to coming in and out of the home. This is something you should definitely try. If you want to have multiple mirrors in the space, just make sure that they're both jewelry mirrors so that they look like they kind of pair together. I would never say get a jewelry mirror and get a normal mirror, because it's very apparent that it's a jewelry mirror, but they have varying depths. So get something that works for you and looks robust. And I think since people are really getting into arches, I think they're even starting to sell like arch jewelry mirrors. So you don't have to sacrifice style for the mirror, but this is a great way, again, to get the practical use of a mirror, get the practical use of a storage container, but also have your entryway look really nice, sleek, and sophisticated. Now, we're talking about ugly decor in the kitchen, because kitchens are such a difficult place to make look nice unless you want to pour thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in there, and literally no one has time for that. I just did a kitchen renovation, and every time I look in there, I cry both tears of joy and tears of sadness because it was so much money. But anyway, a part of the kitchen that ends up being very ugly is the container in which you put your utensils, right? Because a lot of us just have our utensils sitting out, because going into the drawer, way too much effort. If I have to go into the drawer, I'm just going to order in, right? So utensil crocks can get really, really ugly. They always say utensils on them. Like, I wouldn't possibly know it was for utensils with all the utensils inside. We don't want the words. We just want something nice and sleek that really fits in with your decor style, whether that be modern, contemporary, whatever. So what I actually want you to start using is vases instead of utensil crocks. So instead of the thing that says utensils, right, all I can think about right now is the Ray Dunn. But instead of getting something that says utensils, you just want to get whatever your favorite vase is. Make sure that it's nice and shallow so that your utensils don't end up touching the inside of that vase, because we don't want thermostat, right? But as long as it's nice and shallow, you can use that for your utensils, especially if you use your utensils in a way where the part that you would actually use is facing up, right? We cannot do this hack if we're gonna put them face down because we don't know if that vase is food safe. But this is a way that allows you to use non-food safe vases for your utensils. This is something that I've been doing for years and I absolutely love it. I actually just love to order like rustic vases or something that's black and marble so that it can really blend in well with my kitchen and it doesn't feel out of place. We always want to introduce items that carry our design style from the rest of the home into the kitchen, and getting a vase instead of a traditional utensil crock is a great way to do this. The next way to hide ugly decor in your home is to add decorative boxes to literally every surface you can possibly think of. Now, I'm not saying I want you to add 100 boxes to every surface. That's not what I'm saying. But when it comes to your console tables, your coffee tables, even your dining tables, I want you to have decorative boxes. So whether they be made of marble or plastic, it doesn't really matter. But you want to have these boxes on your table because they can hold your mess. Now, you know how everyone has a junk drawer? Think of these as your junk boxes, right? For your remotes, for your receipts, for your mail that you're like too anxious to look at, but you can't quite throw away. You want to have these junk boxes in different parts of your home. Not only does it, help contain the mess, right? So it's containing the ugly, but it's also adding a nice piece of decor because let's face it, when our coffee table just has coffee table books on it, it's kind of boring. We want to add some dimension, and a box is a great way to do so. And again, this is not just for tabletops. We can also do that on those bookshelves too. So again, we're going to organize our bookshelves with books, but we are also going to have these decorative boxes. We're just mastering the bookshelf in today's video, but adding these decorative boxes is crucial. The same thing even applies in your kitchen, and it doesn't have to be a big box. I feel like the box that comes to most people's heads when I say this is like the big stationery box. I'm not saying that. It can be just a small little knickknack box, right? Something that's just large enough to fit your remotes and some receipts and some Tums or whatever it is you like to have when you're watching TV. Mine always has like Tums in it because sometimes TV gets stressful and you get a little bit of acid reflux. That's something that I keep on my coffee table so that you don't have to look at the ugly Tums bottle, right? Because it's just not pretty. We can petition for Tums to fix that, but I don't think they're going to. So having these boxes really does take you further. You want to contain the mess. And of course, a lot of people do this with trays and bowls. But what I often find about bowls is that you can still see all the mess. It's just contained. This way, it is totally hidden away and you just think it's purely decorative, but it's actually doing so much more. The next practical item in your home that's super ugly that we may want to hide is the thermostat, right? Thermostats, they're ugly. They're useful, but they're ugly. That's all I can say about them, right? Because we want to be able to turn on the heat, especially now. We want to have the air conditioning on, but they always stick out like a sore thumb. People always feel like they hold you back when it comes to designing your space because they'll just ruin a whole wall. Well, not anymore. What I want you to start doing to hide this ugly item in your home is to actually put art on a hinge. So yes, you want to put art on a hinge. So you'll find a painting or something like that and we'll use a hinge and attach it to the wall so that you can actually open that wall up. The best way for me to kind of explain this is like when you're in Harry Potter, in Harry Potter when they're going into their different lounges, right? They have like the lady and you have to sing to the painting to get in. Kind of like that, right? It opens on a hinge. That's what we want you to do in your home, but without the ghost in the painting, right? So you can actually start doing that on top of your thermostats, right? Because you still have access to it. The art will be on a hinge, right? It's not going to damage the thermostat or anything like that, but it doesn't ruin your walls. You can still have your gallery walls. You can still have your paintings up. You're just going to have it on a hinge. Does this require you to DIY just a little bit? Yes, of course, but it will be well worth it. And there are tons and tons of tutorials online on how to do something like this. Now, if you do not want to figure out how to put on a hinge, that's okay. I totally feel that. So what you want to start doing instead is getting artwork that has a really thick frame. So if you find a piece of artwork online that you really love, head to your local framer and say, give me the thickest frame you've got, buddy, right? You want it to be really nice and thick so that there's depth there so that you can put the painting over top. This is actually what we've done in our entryway, and every single day we just move the painting to the side to be able to turn on the thermostat and shift it back over. I wouldn't say that that's a hassle. It might be a hassle to some, but this is a great way to obscure something that just doesn't look very good. Now, I will say this is not something I want you to do for like your electrical boxes. We cannot cover them up. That is a fire hazard, please don't do that. But when it comes to thermostats and things like that, you can 100% cover them up with a hinged artwork or artwork that is really nice and thick. This is going to reclaim so much of your wall space, because people say to me all the time, I have this ugly thermostat, I'm just not gonna put anything on my wall. Please don't do that. Please put something on your wall. Just do it in this way. Now, this will actually work also for the in-the-wall air conditioning unit. So someone said this to me the other day on Instagram, and I was like, we have a solution for this. What you can actually do is put art on a track, right? So on a track that it moves side to side. And I will say, this is not my original idea. This is from David Quarles. If you don't follow him, you should. I'll put his information down below. He's great, and he's on Instagram. But what he actually did in this client space is he put this art on like a track, so that when you wanted to use the air conditioner, you just had the art move over on the track. And then when you weren't using the air conditioner, it, you know, slid over to cover it up. This is something that you can do. Again, we have to have the deep art, kind of like what I said, but this is a great way to obscure a air conditioner when you don't like the look of it. And you can just get a track that kind of works with your existing like decor style. So whether it be gold or black or silver, or you could honestly paint the track the same color as your wall so that you don't notice it at all. But again, then you can obscure something as big as a air conditioner, right? Or something as small as a thermostat. Okay, you guys, that is it for today's video. Those were 6 ways to hide the ugly parts of your home. You shouldn't ever sacrifice the practical just for something to look good. That just doesn't make any sense. You should be able to live easily in your home, and after today's video, you can do so. What are some other items in your home that are so practical but super ugly and you want to know how to hide them? Be sure to let me know it down in the comments so that we can make a part 2. If you liked today's video, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and check me out on Instagram. And again, please head over to the Wayfair YouTube channel, subscribe, and check out my newest episode of Interior Motives, and check out the entire season. We have 9 fantastic episodes for you that I really think you're gonna love. I've left a link down in the description box, so go check it out. Until next time, have a beautiful day.